Every trampolinist has fails, but some fails change everything. Today I'm going back to the moments that almost ended my training, the crashes from the early days of my journey, the injuries that shook my confidence, and the lessons that defined the athlete I am now. These clips are raw, they're painful, and some of them still scare me to watch back. This is the truth behind the fails that nearly stopped my journey. Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going way back, all the way to 2013, 2015, reacting to some of my oldest trampoline fails. I've got 7 funny, unlucky fails to warm things up, and then we'll get into 5 of the most painful fails I've ever had, and what they taught me so you don't make the same mistakes. Let's jump straight into the first one. This was my first ever day doing double backflips, and I'm going to remember this one for a long time, man. Double backflips was so fun. You can see here I have my bed mattress on the trampoline with a duvet, and I was landing on my knees, and on one attempt, the trampoline shot me straight backwards. The climbing frame was directly in line, and then metal hit bone. Not a great combination. Somehow didn't break anything, but it taught me to really check your surroundings before you hook any new tricks. Of course you're going to want to have safety mats in place, but also just take a look around. Check that there's no sharp objects, no hard objects like metal or stone nearby. Those could do some damage. Another fail from 2013, and on this one I think I wanted to try double backflip to double front flip. So here I do a double backflip, then take one bounce and then go into a double front flip, but I was way too low. I stayed tucked forever. I felt my toes skim the trampoline mat, and then the momentum slams me forward. And what did this give me? Face first contact and a cheeky tramp burn to go with it. So what's the lesson here? Well, if your flip is low, then don't force it, guys. Just abandon it, because next attempt it will probably be a lot higher and safer. Don't go for tricks when you're too low. Okay guys, another fail from 2013. And if you remember last time, we were talking about the combo double backflips, double front flip. Well, in this fail, I actually do it, but it goes horribly wrong. The double backflip started off great. Nice, powerful, strong, it went really high, but the problem was the landing, because on the landing, I was leaning way too far forward. Now, what problem does that create? Well, it meant that the double front flip that I was going to do afterwards travelled way too far forward and actually sent me very close to the edge of the trampoline. You can see me travel so far forward here, I shoot over to the edge, and unfortunately, one of my legs drops down in between the springs of the trampoline, and I get red cuts down my leg. You can see me clutch at my leg here, this one hurt. Lesson, never combo a double flip when the first one lands wrong. If you do not feel 100% confident in that landing for the first double flip, then just don't do another double. Just honestly go for a single at that point. You'll thank me later, it's a lot safer. The next fail is a super interesting one, guys, okay? Because yes, I necked a front flip. How did that happen? You're about to find out. So here I was doing front flip to backflip, front flip to backflip. I wanted to see how many I could do in a row. Now, on one of the backflips, I accidentally send a gainer, which makes me travel forwards. And the next front flip had 0 height. I basically front flipped onto my head. It didn't hurt because I was low, but it was such a close call. Lesson, controlling your travel on the trampoline is paramount. If you take off leaning forwards, you're gonna travel forwards. If you take off leaning backwards, you're gonna travel backwards. Let's get the takeoff straight up vertical so you go high in the sky and we don't have any issues with travel. Here guys, we're moving to early 2014, and here I was trying to deliberately under-rotate a front full. The goal? To do a front full to my back. The first one went fine, but on the second one, I lost awareness after the half twist. My legs easily made over the full rotation, but I unfortunately didn't get my head up in time, so I landed on my neck. This one was so scary because I just didn't know where I was. The lesson here, guys, when it comes to twisting is just train your basics, okay? Train a lot of half twists before you do a full twist, and also try and understand how spotting works. If you can spot the trampoline bed while you're going round and you twist, you're gonna know where you are in the air and you won't get lost. Ideally, when you're flipping and twisting at the same time, every point your body passes through a horizontal position and you're looking down, you should spot the trampoline. It's a very useful tip, and if you start implementing this in your training, your control and spatial awareness will improve tremendously. Next up is a random neck fail from 2014. At this point in my flipping progression, I was a lot more confident with double backflips, so I wanted to start trying combos. I did a double backflip to a front flip, and then I tried to do a third flip, a backflip actually, but I got 0 rotation. I basically flopped, guys. I went for a tuck, but then let go mid-air for some reason, and I just sort of rolled onto my side. Thankfully, I actually landed on my upper shoulder, not my neck. I was just confused. To be honest, it didn't even hurt. It was just one of those moments where I was like, what happened? What's the lesson here, guys? Well, I guess don't bail halfway through a flip. Unless you know 100% that you're not going to make it, then in that case, you'd want to try and bail safely and land on your back. But from my experience, just holding your tuck all the way is, in many cases, a lot safer. Another interesting neck fail here. My trampoline was set up right by the wall, and I started wall flipping. I tried to combo a wall flip into a backflip, but I travelled way too far back. I landed on my neck, but I rolled out of it safely. I made sure that my chin was tucked onto my chest like this. You never want to stick your head out on a neck. I got redemption straight after, so that felt great. Honestly, this whole thing felt super sketch as I was right by the wall. I didn't want to collide with a brick wall, because that would have been a much worse injury. The lesson here is if for whatever reason you want to combine a wall flip to a trampoline flip, just be prepared that you're probably not as experienced in wall flips, so your travel can easily knock you off guard. It can sneak up on you like it did with me. Be safe out there. Okay, those fails were nothing compared to what's coming next. Now we're getting into the real fails, the ones that actually hurt, scared me, and taught me the biggest lessons in trampolining. Let's get into the painful 5. We're in 2013 and I'm trying a back fall to stomach, and on this fail I wind myself. The technique in my early back falls was rough. Legs apart, twisting on the takeoff, no set whatsoever. I wasn't straight, bent legs, losing my line in the air, so I tried a back fall to stomach, but I lost control mid-twist. I came in chest first and I landed sideways, and suddenly I felt a massive impact on my chest and shoulders. Suddenly I was fully winded and I couldn't breathe for a full minute. The pain I felt was actually an intense pain coming from my side, but mainly I was in shock because I couldn't breathe. I was panicking, guys. I went to one corner of the trampoline and I just sat there motionless. Really, I was just freezing. I did not know what to do, and I had to wait until my breath came back. Once my breath returned, I crawled back across the trampoline in complete shock at what had happened. I have some important lessons for you here, guys. When you start to learn twists in flips, make sure you understand that twisting really multiplies the difficulty of the skill. Make sure you've fully locked in the mechanics of the flip first before you start to add twist. Never, under any circumstances, just chuck a twist like that. Never want to throw it like that, okay? I really want you to focus on setting first with your arms up here, getting the takeoff right, getting your flip sorted, and then once you're mid-air, then you can start to twist. There are some excellent tutorials on YouTube for this kind of thing. I really encourage you to watch some of those and really get your technique for twisting nailed down. You definitely want to build up safely with any sort of twisting. When you get winded, it is definitely scary. Some of you guys might have been winded before. It's totally horrible when it happens, but these incidents are fully preventable with good technique and a strong set on takeoff. Okay guys, so now we're heading over to September 2013, where I tried to do my first ever double backflip and I ended up landing on my neck. I couldn't have done any more physical preparation for this. Honestly, I could do a backflip flat on the ground, I could do a standing backflip to my back on the trampoline. My rotation was solid, but I was extremely scared and I let the fear get to me. I had the instinct to untuck early, and what happened next? I landed straight on my head. And unfortunately, my head didn't even land on the mattress, it actually landed on the trampoline, so that made it hurt a lot more. Even though the set was strong and the rotation was fast, the fear reflex kicked in and I let go a fraction of a second too early, and then I dropped out of the sky straight onto my head. My neck was hurting for about a week after this. I wasn't able to do any trampolining whatsoever. Fast forward 11 days and I send my first ever proper double backflip clean, and that felt amazing. I remember I was feeling so locked in that day. I didn't even have much fear in my mind at all, just because I was so mentally ready. I still find it crazy how the fear just disappeared. Nothing could distract me. I was the most locked in I'd ever been in my life. So, what lessons do we have here? The only dangerous part of a double backflip is untucking too early. If you have access to one, then definitely learn into a foam pit first. If not, and you're learning on G-Tramp, then accept the fear and commit to your tuck. Do not feel bad for feeling fear. Fear is completely normal because you're trying something new. It's the lack of commitment which makes the trick dangerous. Here's the truth. Fear is loud, but commitment is louder. Fear lives in your mind. Commitment is real. The moment you choose commitment over fear, that's the moment the trick becomes safe. If you set properly and stay tight, the flip literally does the work for you. Believe in yourself, guys, you've got this. Dude, this fail was a bad one. We're going back to 2013 again, and it was the day I learned double front flip. So I was sending lots of double front flip attempts on my trampoline, and unfortunately on one of my attempts, on the landing, my nose went straight into my knee. So what caused this fail? Here I landed on my bum, but then the rebound of the trampoline sent my knee straight into my face. I had such a huge nosebleed. There was blood on the trampoline everywhere. And to be honest, guys, my nose is still slightly misaligned today, thanks to this fail. This one was just so painful, to be honest. There was a relatively quick recovery. Like, I was still able to flip, obviously, once the blood had cleared. Quite a traumatic experience, though. And it taught me a valuable lesson. Always use a cowboy tuck for double front flips. Triple front flips are the same. So, knees out, tuck wide. It's way safer, and it's also faster, which means you'll be able to complete the flip quicker. You see how I was tucking before with my legs together? That's what caused this injury. This cowboy tuck method prevents your knees from ever hitting your face. Trust me, it's an essential tip for anyone sending a double front flip on a trampoline. Unfortunately, I don't have the clip for this one, guys, but you'll just have to imagine it. I think you can imagine it. To be honest, I don't know if I'd even want to watch the clip back because there was so much blood, apparently. I asked my parents about it, and they said there was a lot of blood on the trampoline. Must have been hard for them to see. For the next fail, we're heading back to 2014, where I had my worst lower back injury ever, and it took me 1 whole year to recover. Now guys, picture this. It's a cold day and I've barely warmed up, so all my muscles are stiff, which means there's going to be a higher risk of injury. Unfortunately, I don't have the clip for this one, but I do have a clip of me trying exactly the same trick just a couple of weeks before, so you can really see what I'm going for. It's the backdrop half twist into a backflip, otherwise known as a ball out half up. Just so you can picture the full skill, here it is on the screen now. I'm at Airspace Trampoline Park in Wolverhampton. What was there, unfortunately, is no longer there due to the trampoline park shutting down because it wasn't making enough money. I really missed that place. So anyway, back to the fail. As you can see in this clip, my technique was horrific. So what actually happened on the day of the fail 2 weeks later? Well, I landed on my upper back first, very much like what you saw in that previous clip, but on this occasion, my lower back then slapped down onto the trampoline just a split second later. You can see me here trying to demonstrate exactly what happened. Just imagine landing high on your upper back and then falling down onto your lower back. At the instant this happened, I felt a massive pop in my left lower back. I screamed in absolute agony. I couldn't move at all. The pain was so intense. I just panicked because I really didn't know what to do. I knew something had gone horribly wrong. I just sat there motionless on the trampoline. I was terrified, man. I knew in that moment it was a serious injury, but I had no idea it would take me 1 whole year to recover. I later found out it was a 3rd-degree muscle tear in my lower back. The recovery and rehabilitation process was long. Months of rest, months of physio. It took me a full year to get back to real training. The instant was soul-crushing. I had just learned to triple backflip into the foam pit, so it was devastating for me mentally. However, on the bright side, there are some essential lessons we can take from this. Warm-ups are not optional, they're injury prevention. Especially in the winter, you need to warm up thoroughly. Make sure you're doing a few laps around the trampoline, get your blood pumping, and then move on to stretching and mobility work before slowly progressing onto the trampoline. A few years later, I started taking gymnastics classes and I learned proper gymnastics technique. This allowed me to do the same skill much more safely. Out of all the injuries I've shared with you so far, the one I'm about to share next is probably the one that surprised me most. This one did not occur as a result of a one-off accident, but rather from overuse. So this was in 2015, well after my back injury, and I'd fully recovered from my back injury at this point, so I was relearning double backflips, and I was repeatedly landing on my knees on purpose. In fact, every trick I would do, I'd land on my knees. I would not try and land on my feet. I had hundreds of impacts to my knees and the cartilage began to wear down. But I was completely unaware of this. I never experienced any pain while jumping on the trampoline. But then one day I was walking home from the school bus stop and suddenly I felt a sharp pain from under my kneecap and I collapsed to the ground. I remember not being able to stand up because my knees simply couldn't take the weight of my body. I was sat there for about 5 minutes, but it felt like the longest 5 minutes of my life. I was in absolute agony and I didn't know what had happened. Eventually the pain eased, long enough for me to finish my walk home. But I was in shock, man, and I couldn't do any trampolining from that point. I knew I had done some serious damage. I had no choice and I was forced to rest for 3 to 6 months to allow the cartilage to grow back. And then I undertook some serious physio, so it took me between 9 and 12 months to fully recover. The biggest takeaway here is that knee landings are not the goal. They are simply a progression for you to then land on your feet later on. If you repeatedly land on your knees, the impact will destroy your kneecaps over time. So guys, make sure you're always aiming for feet landings. They're better for your control and safer long term. Trampoline injuries happen, we all take hits. But every fail is feedback and every comeback makes you stronger. I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't learned those lessons. If you want to see my more recent fails on harder tricks, click the video right here and let's react to some fresh fails together. Thanks for watching, peace out.